Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Schnitzel.
Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to Bred to Win in the first week of spring 2023. Coming up on this week's show, Kitchwin Hills shows off its two speed stars, Dubious and Graf. Epsom and Five Diamonds winner Ellsberg taking his owners on a great racetrack ride and now standing at Muralla Stud. And trainer Jack Bruce on how some famous racing colours battling it out made him fall in love with racing. That's all coming up, and plenty of spring racing in our Ozhorse news. Saturday's only Australian Group 1 contest, the Memsie Stakes at Caulfield, saw the run of remarkable New Zealand-bred 6-year-old Mr Brightside continue for the Hayes team at Lindsay Park. The dual Doncaster winner has now won 13 of 25 starts with 4 placings and earnings of over $8.8 million. His dam, Lila J, descends from Sir Patrick Hogan's hugely influential mare, Tyona, while his sire, Bullbars, a CS Hayes Stakes winner for Darley, now stands at Orange Court Stud in South Australia at a fee of $9,900.
Kicking hard, Pericles.
Bullbars is by Darley Speed Influence Elusive Quality from their incredible broodmare accessories, as is Saturday's Tramway Stakes winner at Randwick, Pericles. Accessories also through Group 1 winners and Group 1 producing stallions Helmet and Epaulet, as well as dual Group winner Pearls. Pericles' sire, Street Boss, is of course also the sire of recently retired 9-time Group 1 winner Animo, with the son of Street Cry standing this season at Darley, Victoria at a fee of $66,000.
Remark in front, going well.
One of the most important Tab Everest lead-ups, the Concord Stakes, was won by the brother to Golden Slipper winner Esty Jarb, Remark. The Hawks team had him perfectly primed. First up, his Dam Response, a dual Group 1 winner by Charge Forward, who was bought by Katsumi Yoshida for $1.5 million. Remark is raced in partnership with Arrowfield Stud. Nature Strip, a 9-time Group 1 winner of over $20 million, and Eduardo, 2-time Group 1 winner of nearly $8 million, were both retired after the race, happy and healthy. Remark sire Schnitzel looked in his prime at the recent Arrowfield Stud Parade Days. The 21-year-old son of Redout's Choice stands this season at a fee of $247,500, having recently taken out his 4th champion 2-year-old sire title. The Chelmsford Stakes saw David Payne's tough son of Territories, Navajo Peak, join an elite honour roll of past winners. He was bred by John Thompson, owner of top horses such as Diatribe, and descends from Thompson's Melbourne and Sydney Cup place getter Lahar. His sire Territories hasn't returned to Darley in Australia since 2021.
'Tis Invincible heading top gear now.
And on a big day for I Am Invincible with Navajo Peak, his grandson, he also sired the winner of the Phillies Furious Stakes, 'Tis Invincible. She finished ahead of Kimochi by New Yarraman sire Brave Smash. She was a $500,000 Inglis Easter yearling sold by Segenho Stud, and her dam Amuletum is a new approach half-sister to Animo and daughter of Group 1 winner Animato. And the Group 3 races on the Caulfield program went to Hellbent's Benedetta in the Cochrane Stakes, while Flying Artie's Asfura won the Heath, with the former Newgate sire featuring next week on Bred to Win at Blue Gum Farm. And the incredible families of broodmares accumulated over decades by John Singleton were dispersed last week for a total of over $15 million. Top seller under Yulong Stud's Highway Farm name was T-Rose Stakes winner Miss Fabulous, a daughter of Frankel and Samantha Miss, while her colt by I Am Invincible sold for $950,000 to Kiora Stud.
V8 accelerated.
At the Yulong Farm Stallion Parade, there was much anticipation for the return of Grunt's first crop son V8 as a 3-year-old, and the colt signalled he's on track for the Caulfield Guineas with an impressive win in the McNeil Stakes. Originally bought as a $100,000 Magic Millions weanling by Royston and Treen Murphy's Sledmere stud, V8 was then sold at the Inglis Classic yearling sale for $220,000 to the McAvoys and Damon Gabbardy. His dam Nina Rock by Fastnet Rock was a $500,000 Inglis broodmare back in 2015 and an early investment by Yu Shang Zhang in Australia. V8 sire Grunt is a son of champion New Zealand stallion O'Reilly from the family of Cox Plate winner Ocean Park and stands at Victoria's Yulong stud at a fee of $22,000. The KWH brand has been a standout on the near side shoulder of plenty of racetrack stars, and now one of the toughest and most genuine 2-year-olds you'll see is coming home to roost. Kitchener Hills, you do a fabulous open day sort of weekend of open days, and it's a really good part of the world, isn't it? The lovely undulating hills, it's great for the livestock, and you know, really good to see people coming out to support Kitchener Hills.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Thanks for coming out too. It's yeah, it's different. It's a different sort of farm, and probably always had that little bit of a different feel to it in some ways. But we normally do have a sort of a night where we sort of aim everyone to turn up, but like Graf and Dubious, people sort of know the horses now, so we just thought we'd just throw an open weekend, and like I said, we're just you can turn up for breakfast or through mid-morning or lunch or in the afternoon of viewers, whatever suits. But it's a beautiful sort of aspect and lovely farm.
And of course, Kitchener Hills has a great record of producing stars with that KWH brand. Pirata, who's now down at Yulong in Victoria, yes, an Everest winner, now a stallion, Ellsberg, an Epsom winner, and a new stallion this year. It's an outstanding record.
We've, I don't know, it's hard to take praise for it. Just one of those things that we've been so lucky to be involved in, you know. We've got great staff and obviously these hills up here and whatever's in the water's working. So it's very proud to be a part of it. It's been some amazing results.
Covert Ops in front from Dubious, is ticking on well.
Dubious, of course, new to you. It's really great when they come home with that brand on their shoulder, isn't it?
Oh, it was something that... He was a lovely, lovely foal. He was a lovely weanling, and he was lovely yearling when we sold him. He was a high-price yearling. And to get him back was just a great result. And I've got to say, it was great business. Michael King was awesome to deal with on behalf of Aquis, and you saw him here today. He looks amazing. He turned up in great order. They've always looked after him, and what a job they've done. Like I think he's covered over 400 mares before we got him. So a massive chance this horse gets, and obviously he's been well received everywhere so far. Yeah,
and the temperament. He just takes everything in his stride, doesn't he?
He's just so relaxed. I remember Billy, our stallion man, who everyone knows Billy. When we first bought him, he was at Aquis, and on his way to here, I said, why don't we just take him to the mare sale at the Gold Coast? And Billy's, oh God, please don't do this. Anyway, he got off the truck and walked through. You know, there was 300 or 400 mares at the sale. Never batted an eyelid, just wanders about, and that's, you know, a huge tick to his temperament as a whole. I know when you speak to Kieran about him, I think he started his first prep as a racehorse as a yearling, and it was in work pretty much 12 months later. And you know, after winning the Breeders' Plate, one of the fastest Breeders' Plates ever, which holds, you know, it's a race that so many good horses have won, from Stitzel to Capitalist to Vancouver to Sebring, and then to be in work all that time and obviously be a Group 2 winner at the end of that was terrific.
But GBS has quickly dashed up on the outside of Zarsum.
As your Breeders' Plate, second in the Magic Millions 2-year-old Classic, third in the Todman. He won the Champagne Classic in Brisbane. So really right up there as one of the best 2-year-olds of his generation. And then, of course, in the Kingsford Smith. I mean, that was incredible as a 2-year-old to those battle-hard, you know, the Bostonian against the older horses.
Yeah, no, he just... And it's like Kieran said, he just never left a note. He never went shin sore. He just had this amazing temperament, and amazing attitude and brain for it. And I think that if I think about what makes stallions, like you look at I'm Invincible, why is he so good? And you look at Schnitzel, why are they so good? And so many Zoostar and those stallions. And I wonder if it's just because they can produce a horse with that temperament in big numbers. So they can handle that work and be in work for longer under the pressures that Australian racing throw at them. But Dubious was certainly that. His stock looked like him, they act like him. We've all tried to buy them. Like, there's not a stable that didn't get one at the sales. You know, he blew everyone away. Like, I think he averaged 220 grand at the major sales off a sort of 12 grand service fee. So that doesn't happen off great advertising. That happens off him advertising himself, and that's what he's done.
Well, absolutely, and of course, by not a single doubt. So we know, you know, in his later years, he was such a dominant sire with, you know, Extreme Choice, Golden Slipper winner Farnan, Stay Inside, Golden Slipper winning Grandson. So there aren't many not a single doubt stallions around, are there?
No, there's not, and we're apt to have this horse, who, like we just talked about, he's done all of that, and I've loved Not a Single Doubt, whether it be, you know, his yearlings at sales or whether he had one to sell, like Dubious. But his mares now, like we've got a lot of Not a Single Doubt mares here that have actually, we've sort of chased for Graf when of being an outcross stand, but his mares are just producing these lovely yearlings, like beautiful types, and it won't be long. Those champion stands become champion broodmare sires, and then, like, it's just one of those sire lines that I think we're going to be talking about for a long time, Not a Single Doubt.
And Dubious himself, like, he's a sprinter. He's not overly big, but he's just, you know, the muscle and everything's in the right place, isn't it? Beautiful, you know, the hind leg, the lovely black points. Oh, he's just gorgeous.
Just had James Mitchell here, who just came to have a look at him. You know, he's booked a few mares in, and he was just saying how his hocks are really low, and he just drops his head and walks, and his action's phenomenal. And like I said, he was sought after as a yearling, and he sold well. And his progeny now have been sought after well. Like, you just hope they just keep ticking the boxes. I hate to say that, but he just does keep ticking the boxes in every way. So, and his fertility's good, so he's got big numbers behind him. It's like a little sort of time bomb for breeders. It just feels like it's going to go off, so hopefully it does.
Alpha Oro Fabergino grabbed by Graf.
Graf, of course, your other stallion here at Kitchener Hills. First yearlings coming through in 2024, and we saw 3 of them today.
Yeah, lovely horses, and he's just a different horse, really, when you think about it. Like, Not a Single Doubt obviously produced a little bit lack of height and, you know, good length and strength, where Graf's by Star Witness, who's a big, strong horse, and there's only one other son that started Star Witness called Star Turn, who's doing a terrific job. This bloke's owned by a terrific bunch of breeders, like some of the biggest breeders in the country, and like Australian Bloodstock, Max, and, you know, Whitby, Neil Werrett, Steve McCann, Colin Madden, Kitchener Hills. So there's a lot of good people behind this horse, and gives him every chance at stud. So no, he's an exciting horse. He's got some lovely mares, and as you said, those 3 yearlings, like one's out of an all too hard mare, one of those yearlings, and who's the mare's daughter of Ormista, who was a great race mare. Tabasco Kitten was the Reduced Choice mare that had the Graf we saw wandering around the lawn. Well, we sold a Piarata out of her for $500,000 this year, so that's a lovely mare for him to get. And out of a Not a Single Doubt mare, as we talked about, just a lovely lengthy colt that's going to grow into a lovely yearling for Magic Millions. They're 3 nice Magic Millions horses. They're going to support the stand well.
His bulk, I mean, he's just so strong, isn't he?
He's a machine. He's just, hip goes on forever. You know, he's just got that beautiful forearm and great head, and just, yeah, I don't know what stands need look like. It's just like he is that sort of, what you'd look up the dictionary and see a stand, it'd be him.
And this is the exciting thing at this time of the year. Some people might not have seen them, of course, you know, coming through COVID or whatever, you know, with Graf, and, you know, these stallions, for people to actually see them in the flesh. It's so, well, to see them on Bred To Win, obviously, is great too, but to really see the size and the bulk and what they turn into, it's so exciting this time of the year to think what they can achieve in the future.
And that's right, and like, how good is it that everyone can come up to the Hunter Valley and all these farms showcase all their stands, all their farms as a whole, and show yearlings and foals of these young stands that have just had their first lot of foals on the ground. It's terrific for the hunter as a whole, and even have you guys come around and have a look at our boys and all the visitors that we'll get. But like you say, you can get up close to these stands, and you see them on TV is one thing, but when you stand next to them, just see the sheer bulk of them, and the breeding season's around the corner, so they know it, and the testosterone's high, and everyone's ready to rock. So it's a really, really exciting time.
And we wish Mick, Pauline and the Kitchener team all the best for the spring. Coming up after the break, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week and the oh-so consistent Ellsberg, and the ride he took his owners on as he prepares to stand his first season at Murella Stud.
Athabascan, 5 lengths clear from Serpentine. Verona into a clear third.
The Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week came from an impressive European-bred son of Al Mansour, with Athabascan a dominant winner of the City Tats Cup at Randwick. The OTI-owned and John O'Shea trained 5-year-old is a brother to this year's Tancred Stakes winner Arapaho from the Dancili mare Al Zubra. Al Manzoor has now sired 10 stakes winners, with 6 of them from Danehill line mares, including his Derby winner Manzois. And Cambridge Stud is wrapped at the reports from around Australasia on the first of the Sword of State foals, including this colt at Kiora Stud. He's from the Royal Stakes winning McPhee mare Needle and Thread. Sword of State, a 2-year-old Group 1 winner by Snitzel, stands the 2023 season at a great fee of $15,000 NZ plus GST. While Snitzel's son, Spill the Beans, had his stud career cut short, his son Ellsberg is a great option for mare owners standing at Muralla Stud in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. He blends that great Snitzel blood with the wonderful precocious speed of General Nadim. It's great seeing Muralla Stud, a really good Aussie property, and you obviously have a really good sort of family operation here.
Yeah, Caroline, we moved down here in 2008. We've got 3 boys now. It's 500 acres, and obviously we're fortunate enough to be standing Ellsberg this year.
Tell me about how that came to be.
We're friends and have horse with one of the owners that's in it with Ty and Ian, Tim Parham, so we sort of got talking about him, and we're fortunate enough to stand a horse of his calibre and race record.
So when you look at Ellsberg himself, I mean, to me I can see, obviously he's a grandson of Snitzel through Spill the Beans, but from a General Nadim mare, he's got so much speed in him, doesn't he? But of course he was a mile winner of Australia's most famous and toughest spring miles.
He does, being grandson of Snitzel, out of a General Nadim mare. Like you said, there's a lot of early speed. He was a first up winner at 3, went on to win an Epsom over a mile, and then a 5 Diamonds over 1,800 metres, so there's the speed and also could train on.
What do you see when you see him? I mean, you know, you can see that speed in him, but you know, that General Nadim blood is absolute gold from the dam side, isn't it?
It is for sure, and as you saw today, he's such a beautiful type of a horse. Plenty of scope about him. He was a tough racehorse, genuinely loved to get into a fight, and as you saw in the Epsom, never stopped trying.
You know, the Snitzel blood too. I mean, that's just gold, isn't it? A 4-time champion Australian sire. And of course, Spill the Beans, he only, had 4 seasons. He died way too young. But you've got Biscay in there, there's Redout's Choice in there. So some pretty big breed shapers in that pedigree.
It's probably a pedigree with some of the biggest names in it in the breeding. As you said, all those names you just mentioned, Snitzel, Redout's, Biscay. General Nadim even, started off in Queensland and come down to be one of the best down here. So hopefully Ellsberg can replicate what some of his fathers before have done. He came to us, I guess, about a month ago, walked off the truck, walked into the barn, put his head in the feed tin, and that's been Ellsberg ever since. He just eats and goes out into his paddock, and yeah, like you said, he doesn't bat an eyelid. Obviously why he raced on and was never a drama for him.
But he certainly put on a show. When he went out in that paddock he hadn't been in before, he really enjoyed that hill up and down.
He did. He might have saw the camera there and put on a show for that. I didn't think he'd do that, actually.
And he has a beautiful action, doesn't he?
Boy, he was such a good racehorse, isn't it, To win 3.3 million, you're the real deal, to be honest.
Private Eye heading the line well, but how cosy for Ellsberg, hard on the bridle.
Ian Ellsberg is just a beautiful racehorse, letting down into a lovely stallion already. He took you on one hell of a journey, didn't he?
He's been a great experience, I can assure you. I was very fortunate in the start that I had raced other horses with Gerald Ryan, and Gerald was up at the Magic Millions, and I got the phone call to say, Ian, there's a must-have, and that's how I got into Ellsberg. And I then talked my son and one of my son's friends into forming TTI Syndicate, and yeah, we've been on the journey ever since.
And what did Gerald like specifically about him?
Gerald just loved the fact that he was so placid to train. He was a very easy horse to do that. but he also loved his courage in the races. He certainly fought on like a bulldog, and you know, he went to the line every time trying to win.
Well, he won on debut at Warwick Farm. I mean, that must be great as an owner for a start, the unlimited potential of a horse that wins at their first start.
It was fantastic, really was. You know, I was there that day, and yeah, we knew we had something special after that day.
Well, he was pretty early on, group placed in the Newcastle Spring Stakes at his third start. He won at Rose Hill. And then, of course, first up next preparation, he won the South Pacific Classic. So then you have a group winner on your hands.
Absolutely, and that was a huge thrill. As an owner, we were just so excited.
What was Gerald saying at that time?
He said, let's not get, you know, over enthusiastic, but we really think that we've got a good one on our hands.
But Ellsberg is going to lead all the way.
And of course he won the Festival Stakes, Liverpool City Cup, and had some great placings in the Villiers, the Silver Eagle, the Group 1 All Age to Cascadian. I mean, at that point, he was a serious Group 1 performer.
Well, we're on a journey, that's for sure, and the journey just kept going, which was fantastic.
And what's it like when you have a horse entered for a race like the Epsom? I mean, this is one of our toughest miles, obviously, in Australia and probably worldwide. But the build-up to that as an owner, what's that like? You know, barrier draws, and where's he going to draw? And
I wasn't at the barrier draw, but I had my phone tuned in, and yeah, obviously nervous. And then the next 2 days, all we could talk about was Ellsberg. And we have a hotel in Newcastle, and it was just the buzz of the bar. Ellsberg.
Top-ranked Hinge. Ellsberg's fighting on the inside, coming home hard.
And this is probably one of the biggest torments for owners, I guess, a dead heat in a Group 1. What were your thoughts when they crossed the line?
I was upstairs. I wasn't with the rest of the owners, and I had a good view, and I thought we'd run second. And then I said to my wife, oh, I think we've just missed. And she said, oh, don't give up yet. And so I've run downstairs and I've seen the photo. I think we've won now, because I look at Gerald's face and he was beaming, and we thought we'd won. And then when the dead heat came up, well, it was just as good anyway, but it was just an unbelievable feeling.
Who's won it? Top ranked the outside at Ellsberg, the inside. Oh, it's desperately close. There is nothing in this. It's a dead heat. We'll split it. Top ranked and Ellsberg.
When's the talk, obviously, will he become a stallion? You know, will he be able to breed, and what do we have to do that? And then Gerald said, well, just settle down. There's 2 more races that we're going in. And he won the 5 Diamond Prelude, pretty easy actually. And then we were worried about, was he going to step up to the 1800? He stepped up to it okay. He broke the track record that day, carrying 59 kilos and won by over 3 lengths.
Head and head they go on the 5 Diamonds. Ellsberg just in front of Sabah.
That was a great effort. The celebrations were big. Very late back to Newcastle.
Well, it was Intergaze's track record of the 1800 that had stood,
right.
you know, since the 90s. So,
you know, quarter of a century. Yeah. And we just thought we'll let things go and see what pans out. And then the opportunity came to Marilla, and we're all excited. As a matter of fact, I haven't been in breeding before, but the Ellsberg Syndicate, we've purchased 4 mares to send to us, so I suppose I'm going to be a breeder now.
And what's it like? You must enjoy learning more. Now, you've had so much fun with this great racehorse. You know, I know, you know, when you first get into the breeding or breeding a horse or any horses, everyone's like a sponge. Like, you want to know more and more and more about it.
I know you do, and that's why I've been trying to pick Tim's brains and other people in the industry, and it's certainly exciting.
Well, you're on a journey now that you will just, everything everyone says, you're just going to remember it, because it all relates to what happens with your horse and those mares.
Absolutely, yeah, and I can't wait. So the trouble is that I'm a bit impatient, and you just have to be patient and just wait. He's a magnificent animal. He really is. He's a real athlete. I couldn't have written the book better for the fun we've had out of him.
And $11,000 fee. And breeding rights are still available in Ellsberg?
For sure they are, and the owners in Ellsberg have been fortunate enough, so the breeding right you pay for your 2 noms, $22,000. They've included a bonus nom that can be used in the 23 season or the 24. So potentially you can get 4 foals in the first 2 years for a cost of $22,000 to a Group 1 winner, first season horse. It probably doesn't come much better than that, I wouldn't have thought.
Ellsberg features as our G1 Goldmine analysis this week, focusing first on his hot nicks through his grandfather, four-time champion Australian sire Snitzel. French Deputy has been a great cross with Snitzel blood at 43% stakes winners to runners, including dual group winner Irithea and other stakes winners My Sister Lil and Egret. Elusive Quality is also a standout through the likes of Away Game, High Chaparral through Best of Bordeaux, and others with Street Cry Zabeel and Show a Heart also feature. General Nadim's best crosses have been Zedrich at 67%, while mares carrying Galileo and Scenic Blood could also work well. Ellsberg's pedigree is rated a 2020 match. Just love seeing that Snitzel and General Nadim blood combining in Ellsberg. Coming up after the break in Arrowfield Studs, Horse Who Made You Love Racing, trainer Jack Bruce on how some famous racing colours ignited his interest in the industry.
It has to be Flying Spur. I can vividly remember sitting in the lounge room and watching him win the Golden Slipper, weaving through the pack and with just an amazing finishing burst, and I suppose that captivated me, seeing horses come from the back and finish that fast, and just an exciting race. Obviously Octagonal ran second and I was sort of hooked from there on in.
Yeah, what was it about Flying Spirit? So obviously the race itself, but that what made you really want to be involved and you know, follow through with the excitement of it?
Seeing those colours as well, there are Arrowfield's colours and the Ingham's colours running second, you get to identify those people, those owners and those trainers and those jockeys and those horses. They raced together for years, and that was sort of my sticking point, to be able to follow them and watch them race against each other for years and really enjoy that side of the sport.
You know, there's the Miss Finlands and then of course the Octagonal continuing on and all those, as you said, the colours.
Exactly right, you identify the major players, and when you're following who is who, and that just adds an extra layer of excitement. There's something behind each horse, trainers, jockeys and owners, and that's what really got me stuck into racing.
Yeah, and how old were you?
Only 5. I can vividly remember it. I used to go to the races with my father all the time as a child, and he used to always watch them of a Saturday afternoon, and by default you're always watching those horses and you're just picking things up as you go. But I can remember sitting on the mat on the floor watching that horse come from last and win the race.
It's what captures people, isn't it? When you're really young, that's what brings people to want to work in the industry too.
Absolutely, and that's what got me. Racing was something that was consistent through my life, although I hadn't worked in it sort of through high school, and once I had finished school and I was looking for things to do, it was something that I'd always wanted to do. Once I started working on a farm, that was the end for me.
That is Bred to Win for this week. Don't miss next week's show as we visit 2 exciting stallions, Sir Jardin and Flying Artie at Victoria's Blue Gum Farm. That and much more. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.
Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Snitzel.